प्रथमं श्लोकरूपेण किञ्चित् प्रस्तूय तदनन्तरं मम भाषणं कर्तुमिच्छामि। गानचित्ररचना प्रहेलिका शिल्पनाट्यलिपिनृत्यचातुरी। गानचित्ररचना प्रहेलिका शिल्पनाट्यलिपिनृत्यचातुरी। इत्थम् अत्र द्विदिनाङ्कितं कलाज्ञानसत्रमतिसुन्दरं कृतम्। अत्र कलासत्रं, ज्ञानसत्रं, कलाज्ञानसत्रम्। इत्थम् अत्र द्विदिनाङ्कितं कलाज्ञानसत्रमतिसुन्दरं कृतम्। तं प्रणम्य च गुरुं सदा हृदि, मम देशिकवरं डॉक्टर नरसिंहाचार्य, तं प्रणम्य च गुरुं सदा हृदि साहसं तु क्रियते यथामति, साहसं तु क्रियते यथामति। भाषणं कृतवता मया पुनः शृण्वतां मतिमतां च वहा पुरः। वेङ्कटाचलबुधस्मृतिकल्पिता ज्ञानदा सुललिता कलामयी. This is a conference on arts, Kalamayi. You can also say वेङ्कटाचलबुधस्मृतिकल्पिता भास्वरा सललिता कलामयी. Radha madam also asked. शृण्वतां च परिपूर्णसुखप्रदा. Professor Venkatachalam was associated with Sampoorna Sanskrit University. So that Sampoorna Ananda is not only confined to him, but it is also confined to us now. Shrinvatam cha paripurna sugaprada Sampurna Ananda. Shrinvatam cha paripurna sugaprada vardadam krishi parasharatmiga. Dadujam cha nagarasya nirmidihi, metallurgic. Dadudam cha nagarasya nirmidihi mallagita shagunadikam tata ratnashastra galaya samanvitam. I heard that Professor Tyagarajan gave a very good talk on Ratna. Ratnashastra galaya samanvitam kasya chetasi manoharam natade. Sarvesha manoharam ityartah. Dushanam yadi madhya bhashane. Yadi madhya. Prajalom also more or less the same. Yadi madhya, yadi madhya. Dushanam yadi madhya bhashane. Shantu markhati buddha kripaya sada. Kandasamsa garalaha shivo yata. Shiva does not speak ill of others. Even the poison he keeps there. Kandasamsa garalaha shivo yata. Dharayan shashiram atma murdhani. Even though there is a kalanga on the moon, Shiva always exhibits Dharayan shashinam atma murdhani. It is indeed my good fortune to be associated with the 75th anniversary of the KSRI. In fact, KSRI is known for organizing many such fruitful academic conferences and workshops. And it is by organizing this that the entire campus will be reverberating with academic activity. We say Kalagalan irukku. Now this is a seminar on Kala. So naturally it has got to be very active. And I am equally happy that I have been asked to give this lecture, the Valeddictory lecture, as a tribute and in memory of the great Professor V. Venkatachalam. And I am happy that yesterday the endowment lecture of my Guru, Dr. M. Narasimhachari, that session was dedicated to him. And whatever I am today, it is because of my studentship, my training under him, and I owe everything to him. I have heard a lot about Professor V. Venkatachalam, but I didn't have occasions to meet him till I happened to have the fortune of meeting him, not in India, but in South Africa. The World Hindu Conference was held there, and I was also invited by Dr. Rukmini, who was heading the chair of Sanskrit Studies in Westville University in Durban. And I was very happy to go there. And I was astonished to find that the World Hindu Conference was attended by nearly 45,000 people from various countries. And it was organized in the Chatsworth Stadium, and it was inaugurated by no less a person than Dr. Nelson Mandela himself. And to invite him, a committee was formed there, and Dr. V. Venkatachalam was the foremost in that committee. I was also a member. And Sri Murugadas also was there. He rendered a very beautiful devotional song. And we had the fortune of receiving Dr. Nelson Mandela for that conference. And that was the time I got associated with Professor V. Venkatachalam. And I was really astonished by his scholarship. At the same time, he is true to that saying, Vidya Dadati Vinayam, as rightly pointed out by my good friend Dr. Balasubramaniam. Narayana Bhattacharya used to say, Jnanam tapascha vinayanvitam eva manyam. A man of such a great erudition and scholarship, he is very simple and humble, and he will talk to us rather coming down to our level with a view to elevate us. And subsequently, we had invited him to our Sanskrit department in Vivekananda College for a seminar. I don't remember which year. Art and architecture, maybe many years back. And there, he used to simply give a talk. It was a Ganga Pravahan. Naturally, he was residing on the banks of Ganga for many years. And he used to narrate so many anecdotes which we should actually remember, because such a small anecdotes we don't come across in any of the books. And it is our duty rather to pass it on to the next generation. So just one anecdote mentioned by him I will narrate and will pass on to my subject. It says one poet, he was very poor. He went to one king and told him that he should support that person. And the king said, okay, I will give you lunch, everything, you go. He ordered his people to feed him well as much as he wants. Then he was given good food and he came back. Then the king asked him, Bhuktam va, have you taken your food? Then he had the audacity to say, Tava sabhayam bhuktam, samrajyam bhuktam. I have taken food in your sabha. Bhukta also means I have enjoyed your entire samrajya. And the king became angry. How dare you say that samrajyam bhuktam? Then he said, Sa ambra ajyam maya bhuktam. In your lunch, there was mango as well as ajyam, ghee. So that I have taken. I didn't mean. So this itself is a prahelika. Okay, see, it's a very small anecdote. But Sanskrit language is so rich that it can be converted as a prahelika. So this is a small anecdote which he mentioned maybe some 30 years back. Still I remember, because that was the type of scholarship with which they explore such small anecdotes even. So I just recollect such anecdotes and I wanted to share this with you. And I may pay my tributes and salutations to my revered Guru, Dr. Narasimhachari. Yesterday, the endowment lecture was, the session was held also. And the topic given to me, of course, in the Shirshaka itself is art and architecture. Initially I had an apprehension whether I'll be able to do justice to this topic. First of all, when we probe into this, why should we have liking for art and architecture? Because nowadays people look for factual aspects in science. These are all frictional, not factual. That's what they think. There is a well-known Subhashita, Ahara Nidra Bhayamedunam cha Samanamedade Pashubhihi Naranam. Taking food, sleeping, Bhaya, fear, and procreation. These are the four aspects which are common between man and animals. Ahara Nidra Bhayamedunani Samanamedade Pashubhihi Naranam. Then the Subhashita goes on to say, Dharmena hinaha Pashubhi samana. A human being who lacks dharma, Pashubhihi samana. He is no better than an animal. Perhaps we can have a Padabheda, Kalaya vihinaha Pashubhi samana. A man who does not have any liking for kala or art, he is as good as or as bad as an animal. And that's why Bhartrihari said, Sahitya Sangeeta Kala vihinaha, Sakshadu Pashuhu Pucha Vishana hinaha, Trinamna Kadannabi Jiva Manaha, Tadu Bhagdeyam Paramam Pashunam. Thank God he has not started eating grass, otherwise they will be deprived of that also. And why should man have this interest in color or architecture? Here we find that we are going deeper and deeper. From the gross, we are going into the smaller ones. When I go to a shop which is selling wall clocks or small wristwatches, I just ask him, what is the price of this wall clock? He says 300 rupees or 400. Varying ranges are there. Then again I go, what is the price of this Titan or some other latest Skadgen, some other variety. Then he says, sir, this costs 75,000 rupees. Do I say that such a big clock you charge only 300, for this smaller one you are charging 75,000? Because more of intricacy has gone into this. And even anything, even language, samskara vatya iva gira manishi. Tvaya aham putaha vibhushidascha. Himavan says, when Parvati was born, he celebrated her birth with as much pedantry as one would celebrate the birth of a son. And he even told her, Tvaya aham putaha vibhushidaha. I have been sanctified and ornamented by your birth, just as samskara vatya iva gira manishi. Even the bhasha, only when it is perfected, as our own dear Sanskrit, Samskritam, well perfected language. And even Manushya, the samskaras, the sacraments, they make us very perfect. So these things are very much required for the mankind. And kala is something which goes even beyond that. That is some kind of micro from the macro level. Uvalayandakara Appaya Diksha says, he gives this as an example for Deepaka Alankara. Manihi Shanol Leedaha, Samara Vijayi Heti Dalidaha, Madakshinaha Nagaha, Sharati Sariti Ashyana Pulina, Kalasheshaha Chandraha, Surata Mridida Bala Vanida, Tanimna Shobante, Galita Vibhavaha Cha Artishu Dribaha. These things, when they become lean, they shine all the more. What is that? Manihi Shana Ullida. When a stone is extracted from the mine, gross object, its price may be some 1 lakh. But when it is cut into different diamond pieces, the Ratna Shastra, then each piece will cost 5 lakhs. It has become smaller, but the value has become more. Manihi Shanollidaha. Samara Vijayi Heti Dalidaha. A soldier in the army, if he has lost his hand or leg, we adore him more than another soldier who has served in the army but who has never faced any war in his service time. This man might have lost his even both the legs, but we honor him more because Samara Vijayi Hedi Dalita. Samara Vijayi he has not lost the battle. He won the battle by fighting. And Matakshinaha Nagaha, an elephant which has become tired because of the ichor. Sharadi Sariti Ashyana Pulina, where the Sarit has, the flow of the river has become very thin, but we are able to enjoy the sand on both the banks. So that's why we say that which is the richest object. Then the Praheliga again in English, they say the river, because it has got banks on both the sides. Yes. Sarati Ashyana Pulina. Kala Sheshaha Chandraha. A crescent moon, very beautiful. It is not Purna Chandra. Moonram Birai, we say. It's very beautiful. It has lost many of its, but it has been made perfect. Kala Sheshaha Chandraha. So these objects, Tanimna Shobande, the Tanima, is not the Tanimai of Tamil, it is the Tanima means thinness. Tanimna Shobande, Galita Vibhavaha cha Artishin Nirbaha. A king who has lost his entire wealth by giving. That's why in Raghuvamsha we find Kautsaha Prabhede Varadantu Shishyaha. Kautsa approached Raghu. He pestered his guru, Varadantu. I have learned under you. I want to give some good Dakshina. What shall I give? Then Varadantu said, I am very happy. You are such a brilliant student. You don't need to give anything. You get Grihasthasrama. You get settled in life and lead your life. But he was going on pestering. He became very angry. Then he said, for each vidya that I have learned, I have taught you, you give 1 crore. So 14 crores he has to give. 14 crore gold coins. Where will he go? People said, Raghu is such a Vadanya, a donor, you go to him. Then he went to Raghu. And there he thought it will be a very palatial palace with golden Singhasana. But he went there only Vetrasanam, cane chair. He was asked to sit there. And Raghu brought a earthen vessel and filled with water and he offered that argya. Mrunmraya patra anumida vyayasya. Then he inferred, this king himself is very poor. What can I ask from him? So there, Galita Vibaha Chartishan Ribaha. Raghu has lost everything by giving, but he has not lost in his stature. Raghu asked him, what shall I do for you? Then he said, actually I came for one purpose, but after seeing you, I think my position itself is better. I can manage. Then Raghu said, no, nobody who has come here should go back without fulfilling his desire, vancha. And he said, I had told my guru like this, how can I ask you for 14 gold coins? Then he said, you give me 1 day's time. I will give you. Then for the next day morning, he was preparing to attack Kubera, the Dhanadipa. And in the meantime, the message went to Kubera, tomorrow morning, before you get up, you be careful, Raghu's army is coming. Then what he did, he filled the treasury of Raghu with gold coins. And the next day early morning, all the people came to Raghu, hoping our Gajana is full. You can give that money to the Kautsa. That Raghu called him, you please take all the gold coins. And Kalidasa very beautifully says, people were astonished that this Kautsa took only 14 coins to be given to his guru. So whether to appreciate Raghu for his Vadanyatva or appreciate the integrity of this boy who took only as much as he wanted, not anything for the 1 single penny extra he did not take. So here, Galita Vibhaha Artishan Ribaha. He has lost everything, but Raghu's stature, that's why we call it a Raghuvamsha. That's why even Rama today is called as Raghava, connecting him to Raghu, not to any other king earlier. So here, that from the gross we come to the level of minute. This is what the Kala attempts to take us to. And Shilpa Kala or Kala, such words are mentioned in very ancient texts also. You might have certainly other speakers would have told you about this. For example, in the Vishnu Sahasranama we come across Yogot Jnanam, Tata Sangyam, Vidyaha, Shilpadi Karmacha, Vedaha, Shastrani Vijnanam, Etadi Sarvam Janardhanat, as early as Mahabharata. So everything has originated from the Lord. So here there are two terms, yogaha jnanam. Again, vedaha shastrani vijnanam. So what is the subtle difference between jnana and vijnana? When we go to Amarakosha, there he says, dharmadihi jnanam, tat anyatra vijnanam. Mokshadihi jnanam. The jnana, okay, moksha praptikam jnanam, that is jnanam. Any other shastra jnana can be called as vijnana. So they have taken pains to demarcate between all these terms that which we use normally. And the word kala is profusely used in the Brahmanda Purana and the Lalita Sahasranama. Many of you, I am sure, are very thorough with Lalita Sahasranama. In many places it comes Chatushtashti Upacharadya. How this number 64 has come to be stuck with this Chatushtashti Kalamayi, Kalavati, Kalalava, Kalatmika, Kalanatha, Kavya Alava Vimodini, Kalanidhi, Kavya Kala, Gana Loluba, many such words. And even in the Lalita Trishadi Bhashya, which is ascribed to Shankara himself, very profound scholarship is reflected there. Some people say it could not be by original Shankaracharya, but when you say that it is by Shankara himself, very beautiful commentary he has written on the Lalita Trishadi. There, he, in one Nama he says, Kalyana Shaila Nilaya Kamaniya Kalavati. And Shankara says in his Bhashya, Chaturshashti Kalaha, Vidya Rupaha Va. And in another place, Karaboruhu Kalanatha Mukhi. Kalanatha is Chandra. So Chandramukhi, I am not referring to any film or anything, but Chandra Iva Mukham Yasyaha Sa Kalamukhi. But he did not stop with that. He says, Kalaha Chaturshashti Kalaha Nathayati Prerayati Kalanatha. She prompts the 64 kalas. That is why she is called as Kalanatha. Okay. So Chaturshashti Kalaha Nathayati Prerayati Kalanatha. Nishwasitam etate Rigvedaha, Yajurvedaha, Samvedaha, Ityadi Shrutehi. So all the Vedas are the Nishwasa of the goddess. So like that, all the kalas have originated from her. Iti Shastra Yonitvatu, iti Nyayacha. Tadasha Shabdamugam, Kalanadaha, Chandraha, Iva Mugam Visyaha. That also he has mentioned. And Kalalaba, Kambugandi, Karanirjita Pallava. There again he says, Kalaha, Chatushakti Kalaha. Alabaha, Vyavaharajika Shabdaha, Isyaha. Even her Alaba is like a Kala. So enthralling. Veda Shastramayi Vani Yasyaha Sa Paradevada. Her speech itself is the Veda. So he quotes that. And not only that, this word Kalaha, in Natya Shastra also we come across Kalaha Abhyakta Madaraswaraha. So her voice is very beautiful. Saprayojanaha Alapaha Syaha Sa Kalapa. And in another place, there is one statement, Hallisa Lasya Santushta. We know Lasya and Tandava. Shiva stands for Tandavam and Parvati is adept in Lasya, the gentle feminine type of dance. Shiva's dance is very aggressive. Though this even this branch of dance form has come from Rishi Tandu. That's why we call it as Tandava. So that's why anyone who is very aggressive at home also, we say, no, it's like Rudra Tandava. Hers is Lasya. And what is this Hallis Lasya? What does this term Hallis mean? Can anybody tell me? Hallis Lasya. Hallis. Shankaracharya says, what is the meaning of Hallisa? He says, Eka Taladi Yukta Gita Purvagam Yati Lasyam Nartanam Tasminne Pritimati Narinam Mandale Krityam Buddhaha Hallisakam Viduhu. In Haravalli Kosha, Hallisa is explained. What we call as that Kolatam. Narinam Mandale Kritya. Yate Tandavam Kriyate Buddhaha Hallisakam Viduhu. So that is called as Hallisaka. So Shankara tells us What is the meaning of Halli Sakha? That is again another kala. So like this, the 64 kalas, where do we search for all the source? Of course, we have in the Bhagavata Purana also. But Mallinatha, for the first time, he gives a list of the 64 arts. And in fact, that too in a different context. In Rati, in that Vilapa. When in Aja Vilapa, when Aja is dead, Rati is, in fact, Kalidasa, we have to understand for literary appreciation. You can read Kalidasa and enjoy it, but which meter he uses? In Rati Vilapa, in the 4th canto of Kumar Sambhava, he uses Viyogini meter. Again, in Aja Vilapa, in the 8th canto, in Raghuvamsha, he uses the Viyogini meter. Because it is separation forever. It is death, not just Vipramba Sinkar. And there, in Aja Vilapa, when that that garland falls on the head of Indumati, she dies, and King Aja is very much shocked and very much disturbed. He laments. There he says, "Fate has taken you away from me." And a very beautiful sloka Kalidasa has written there, Grihini Sajivaha Sakamitaha Priyashishya Lalite Kalavidau Karuna Vimukena Mrityuna Harata Twambata Kimna Mekritam. What he has not taken away from him. So there, that Kalavidau, you are my good student for teaching all the arts. And under this sloka, Mallinatha has given the list of all the 64 kalas. So this is one source which is quite authentic, but there are many other collections of 64 arts. Not all the 64 kalas are the same. There are some differences here and there. Some include Paka Shastra, some have excluded that in this place. So like that, when we look for this one list of 64 arts, there are several sources pertaining to this. And now what I am trying to talk here is to combine art and architecture. One of the arts is Kavya Rajana, and we have the architecture on the other side. Here a few anecdotes I will narrate to you. In 2004 or 5, I was invited to Sagar University, where Professor Radha Tripathi, who subsequently became the Vice Chancellor of Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan, he had invited for a conference on dramaturgy. So in those days, of course, flight travel was not that much in vogue. So I traveled and got down at a place called Bina. From there, you have to travel to Sagar. And on the way, I found a very beautiful place called the Iran. And this Iran, not Iran, it is Iran. Even that is a Sanskrit word later converted to, it's a place where elephants used to stay in a multitude, it seems. And this is one place where you will find architectural marvel of the Varaha Avatara. And I visited that place. I was really enthralled by the minute architecture features of that temple. And in fact, Dr. Haripriya Rangarajan, she was staying for a long time in North India, in Gujarat and other places. She has done a lot of research on this Varaha concept, and she has even published a book on the Varaha temples of Madhya Pradesh. And there are many other books on Sri Vaishnava cult in Gujarat and Varahi. And she is the wife of Dr. Rangarajan, the former governor of Reserve Bank of India and advisor to the government of India in financial matters. So she has particularly put this temple as the cover page, And I was very much impressed with that. I went to Sagar. There also I found one statue of Varaha. And subsequently in 2006, when the World Sanskrit Conference was held in University of Edinburgh, that World Sanskrit Conference, the committee, they adopted a motto for that, a mudra. And just I will show you, this is the World Sanskrit Conference in Edinburgh, 13th. So here you will find Varaha and goddess Bhuma Devi clinging to his snout. And this is nothing but a replica of the Varaha temple in Sagar, in Madhya Pradesh. They have adopted this. So this is one part in architecture. So now let us come to the literature. When I was subsequently teaching Raghuvamsha and also Kumar Sambhava, in Kumar Sambhava, Kalidasa describes the 7 sages. Because when Shiva wanted to send somebody as an emissary to Himavan, asking for the hand of Parvati, Shiva is very happy with marrying Parvati. She did penance only to marry Shiva. But when he appeared, Adya Pravriddhi, Amanadange Tavasmi Dasaha, I have become your Dasa, not because of your beauty, but Kritaha Tabobihi. By your penance, you have literally purchased me. So he wants to marry. But suddenly she said, Dada me Bhuburdam Nataha Pramani Kriyatam. You better approach my father. It is a Prajapatya type of marriage. It is an arranged marriage, not anything else. So he had to send somebody whom he would send. Then Rishine Jyotirmayane Sapta Sasmara Smara Shasana. He thought of the 7 sages. And Kalidasa very beautifully describes them. In another occasion also, when the 7 sages descended on Vashadi Prastha, he described the 7 sages again. There he says, Asakta Bahulataya Sardam Udridaya Bhuva Mahavaraha Damstrayam Visrantaha Pralaya Abati. When in the Mahapralaya, when the Mahavaraha lifted the earth, Kalidasa says, Asakta Bahulataya. Bhuma Devi, like a creeper, was clinging to his snout, Varaha. Asakta Bahulataya Sardam Udridaya Bhuva Mahavaraha Damstrayam Visramtra Paraya. So what Kalidasa has written in literature, we are able to find carved on stone in architecture. So there is a lot of connection or link between the Kavya and architecture. And if anybody visits Cambodia, where you have the great architectural marvel. In fact, the biggest Hindu temple is not in India. It is Angkor Wat, it is in Cambodia. Biggest temple. And these temples were built as early as 9th or 10th century by Grahavarman and Suryavarman, other many such kings. If you want to study the Mahabharata panel of architecture, that itself will take 1 month. Another panel on Ramayana. And they have developed this art form of dance called Apsara dance. So they train the children even to fold the fingers and touch the wrist. Even today they do that. And that dance form is very popular in Cambodia and Indonesia and many places. In Indonesia, if you go, there is a very beautiful architectural marvel called the Prambanan, where besides Vihara for Buddha, we have temples for Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. And in every entrance, you will find the Gajalakshmi, Yasa Padmasanastha. So there, that sloka is there, Gajendrehi Bhushita, like that. So that emblem you find in all the entrance, even a temple for Brahma with a Hamsa as a Vahana. So it has spread far and wide. And there is one rock edict in Burma, in a place called Pagan. And this rock edict is dated to 13th century. When people went there to study what is written there, there was a sloka etched on that rock. And the sloka is this: Nastha dharme naja vasu nijaye neva kamo bhoge yadyad bhavyam bhavadu bhagavan mama purva karmanurupam etatu praptyam mama bahumadam janma janmantareshu tvatpada amboruha yugagada nischala bhakti rastu. This is a sloka in the Mukunta Mala of Kulashekara, whom we call as Kulashekara the king, whom we call again as Kulashekara Alvar. Whether Alvar and the king are the same or not, that is again a dispute, a discussion is going on. But in the Kavya itself he mentions Ratnya Kruta Kritiriyam Kulashekharena. So this sloka is composed of somewhere in 8th or 9th century. It has travelled all the way to Burma and found edicted, enriched on a stone carving of the 13th century. So the poetry we find on architecture, on inscriptions and other places also. And when I was a student in Vivekananda College, we were almost more or less the same batch. I think Srinivasan was in 1 year. Yes, 2 years, yes. As a students, not otherwise. And we had the good fortune of studying Pratapu under a very great stalwart, Brahmasri Varahur Kalyanasundar Shastri. And he taught us in such a way that Prataparudriya Yashobhushana, which normally because he is going on, Vijayanath is going on praising the king, you are Indra Chandra like that, anybody will get fed up rather. But the way he taught us was so excellent that almost the entire portion of Prataparudriya, whichever he has taught, Shastrigal has taught us, even today it is almost by heart for me. And Prataparudriya is replete with so much of eulogy, prashasti, that there is certainly a lot of exaggeration in it. In fact, in one sloka he says, it seems when Adishesha was there, his wives, they were all sitting in front of him, and they were all very good at music. And some of his wives were singing very beautifully. But Adishesha was maintaining a stoic silence, because he was not able to nod his head. And his wives became so angry. We are singing so beautifully, this fellow is not even appreciating us. Okay, let us see for lunch how I will serve him. But now that King Prataparudra has come, Gayandihi Anumodate Nijavaduhu Sheshaha Shirakampanaihi. He need not worry about losing the earth which he has been carrying, because Prataparudra will take care. He is such a great ruler. He can bear the entire burden of the earth. So now he is relieved. Today I can appreciate my wife's singing, I will get a good lunch. Okay. And similarly, Goddess Lakshmi also was not happy. Her residence is the Vakshasthala of Mahavishnu. So when she wanted to go and reside there, this fellow is lying upside down. Because in Kurma Avatara, he is like this. Vakshasthala is under the water. How can Lakshmi go there? Then now, but Prataparudra is there. Lakshmi Pranayate Adya Kachapapati Vakshastali Darshanath. So now Kachapapati, now you can come and reside here. I don't need to carry the burden of the earth. Prataparudra will take care. So like that, so much of eulogy. Similarly, another sloka, he says, Kausalya Asiti Pratama Janani Devagija Dudiya Rudra Navadehe Mummadamba Tridiya. Okay, whatever be the eulogy, the name of his mother is Mummadamba. Okay, he wants to equate Prataparudra with Rama and Krishna, we have to understand. He did not say he is the same as Rama. See, what a beautiful approach towards the suggestion. Kausalya Asiti Pratama Janani. Devagija Dudiya in Krishnavatara, Mummadamba Tridiya. So this we have learned in literature. I studied this in 1974, and after I became a research scholar under Dr. Narasimhachari, in 1978, I attended the Indian History Congress as a research scholar. I didn't present a paper, just to attend and incidentally also visit some of the houses of the Maringanti poets who had collection of manuscripts which they themselves did not know. I had to go and tell them, sir, you have got so much of collection. Then they searched, they were so much taken aback, they searched, then subsequently they published all those works. So I attended this history congress, and they had arranged for a visit to places of historical importance. And I also joined them. I was so enthusiastic about it. And fortunately, that team was led by no less a person than Dr. A.L. Basham, Arthur L. Basham, who is a very renowned historian. He was the professor of history in the SOAS, School for Oriental and African Studies in London. And he has published many books, very popular among which is The Wonder That Was India. It's a beautiful book. He's a great historian. And he took us, very fortunate, and he in particular took us to the Kakatiya ruins, where, as described in the Prataparudra, very often he mentions about the Torana, the arch entrance of the palace of Prataparudra. Even today, that architectural marvel is existing. It has withstood the vagaries of time. And there, Professor Basham explained to us, this is the arch, the main entrance of the Kakatiya rulers, among whom King Prataparudra was a very great ruler. And also to Hanumkonda and Ramappa temple, where King Prataparudra used to visit and salute Lord Shiva. So all these historical places of importance we could visit and now relate what we have studied in literature and what we are able to find in architecture. Similarly, during my tenure, just another 5 minutes or so I will take, during my tenure in Pondicherry University, there are two educational institutes there. One is FIP, the French Institute of Pondicherry. The other one is EFEO, École Française Extreme Orient, which means the French Institute of Asian Studies. It is this institute which found out the Angkor Wat, the Cambodian marvel. It was all covered by huge trees. In fact, if you go to Cambodia, the trees are so huge that inside the tree itself you will find a temple. Whether the temple is supporting the tree or the tree is supporting the temple, you will be wondering. So huge. And the French people only found out that, and this is one of the greatest marvel. In fact, I wonder whether the so-called 7 wonders of the world put together are anywhere near this Angkor Wat. Such a wonderful marvel which was created as early as 9th or 10th century AD by kings from India in a land where there is no mountain. Where from they got all these stone blocks, we do not know. It's a marvel. That's why even today it is maintained by the Archaeological Survey of India. I am sure Professor Satyamurthy would have given a lot of such exposition of this. And in that EFEO, one director was appointed by name Gillette Valery. He is a professor of history from France. And she said, sir, I have come across so many copper plates with so many slokas written in Sanskrit. So I would like you to just expound the meaning of these slokas. So we'll have a workshop for 2 days. Then I agreed. Then I found out that these copper plates were obtained from the place called Kuram. This Kuram is near Kanchipuram. Kuratalvan is from that place. And this is the seat of the Pallava Kings. And that's why even today if you visit, not very far away from Kanchipuram, on the way itself you will find there is one Narsimha Pallava College of Arts and Science even today, in memory of King Narasimha Pallava. Yes. So there, I explained to them all these Sanskrit Slokas. And there you find that initially they have given the genealogy of the Pallava Kings. Because the Pallava Kings, they have traced their origin to sage Bharadwaja and subsequently to Drona. And they say that we belong to the family of Dronacharya. That's why originally we are all Brahmins, but we have taken to the Kshatriya warriorhood, just like Dronacharya has done. So the earliest slokas are all dedicated to Bharadwaja, Drona, and even starting from Lord Brahma. So these are all Sanskrit slokas, but inside that you find all this information about the Pallava kings. So that again helps us to a great extent how the literature will help architecture and how the architecture also can contribute to understanding the literature. And again, when I went to a museum in Bhopal, fortunately, I had the good opportunity of visiting many such places, and that's again I went to Sampoorna University, where because of the strong foundation laid by Professor V. Venkatachalam, including there's a beautiful temple which was consecrated by Swami Jayendra Saraswati inside the campus of Sampoorna University. So I had visited that as a NAC peer team member. Further, I could be a member of the NAC team in the 11 campuses of Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan and also the Lal Bahadur Sastri Sanskrit University. And subsequently, a 5-member team was formed to present a draft for enhancing all these Sanskrit universities to Central Sanskrit University. So for the Lal Bahadur Sastri, this one, I was also in the panel, and this draft was presented to the Parliament to be presented, and subsequently now it has been, we are very happy that we are having the Central Sanskrit University, which means that we look forward to more funding and help from the Central Sanskrit University. So during this, I could visit a museum in Bhopal, where one architecture was there, one sculpture. We have heard that there is one ceremony called Dohada. Dohada ceremony is such that when the women they kick the tree, it will yield more flowers. That is a beautiful ceremony. Called also, and many others refer to this. In fact, when Pururavas is separated from Urvashi, he says, Raktaha tvam navapallavaihi. You are red in color because of the tender sprout. Ahamapi slagyehi priyayaha gunaihi. Ahamapi anuraktaha. I am also having anuraga because of the great virtues of my wife. Kanta pata talahadihi tava mude. When the Kanta, the women, they kick you with their foot, you become happy and you wish you more flowers. And he admits that Tadvada Mamapi. Okay. And he says, Tvam ayanti shilimugaha brahmaraha. The bees are coming towards you. Smaradanur muktaha shilimugaha tata mamapi. And the arrows released by Manmata are coming towards me also. Sarvam tulyam avayoho Ashoka. Between you, hey, Ashoka tree, and myself, everything is same. But Datra Sashoka Kritaha. You are Ashoka, I am Sashoka. I am by Vedireka Alankara. Very beautiful. So Dohada ceremony is mentioned here. And I was fascinated to see that Dohada sculpture. I asked that curator of that museum, why is it that that woman, she is pregnant and she is kicking the tree? That is how it is presented there. Then he explained to me, sir, dohada actually means do hridaya. Okay, she has a heart and the infant in the womb, it has got a heart also. Only when such a woman kick the tree, it will yield the flowers. So we have understood dohada from literature, but in architecture, see how it has been projected. So therefore, there is a lot of link between art and architecture, between kala and the silpa kala. And just one more kala I would like to draw your attention to, namely the Paka Shastra. Why Paka Shastra in particular is because, in fact, Ovini, after preparing a few thoughts like this, I understand that there is a lot of scope for research in these Shastras. If you take architecture itself, like a Varaha architecture throughout India, in Madhya Pradesh or in Bihar, like that in different places, like a Varahi concept, or even Keshakala. Okay, even hairstyle, so many sculptures have depicted that. Even ornaments, somebody can take it as a research topic or even as a project. And why this Paka Shastra? One research scholar by name, what's her name? I forgot. Andrea Lauren from University of Texas. She actually came here. Dr. Balasubramaniam, I remember. She came here and she wanted to study some texts, and he directed her to meet me in Pondicherry. And I asked her, what is the subject that you would like to study? Then she said, I am very much interested in the culinary literature in Sanskrit. Then she wanted to study some of the, not only the renowned texts pertaining to Paka Shastra, but totally unpublished works from Saraswati Mahal Library on Paka Shastra. And as a co-guide, she had obtained, that Fulbright Nehru Scholarship, and she stayed in Pondicherry for 1 long year and studied many of these Paka Shastra texts. And she presented her thesis to University of Texas. And in the recently conducted World Sanskrit Conference in Canberra, it was supposed to have been conducted in 2020, but got postponed because of COVID. Again got postponed, and in 2022 it was held online, and they had announced a DK Printworld Award of $1,000 worth of books for the best thesis. And there was a panel of 5 scholars from different countries, and they had adjudged this thesis, a genre of its own, Paka Shastra, the early traces in Sanskrit literature. This particular thesis submitted by Andrea Lauren to University of Texas, that was selected as the best thesis, and this award was given to her, award of $1,000 worth of books. So why I am saying this is that you may think Paka Shastra, what is there? Only a lunch. In between lunch there is a Shastra which speaks about lunch and dinner rather. So that is a very, very beautiful collection of, I think even there is a beautiful exhibition of the utensils used by even our forefathers, our grandmother or great grandmother. If you visit the CP Art Center in Kanchipuram, they have displayed very beautifully what we call now, because nowadays everything is vanishing. Aruva, Manai, all this, whatever you say. So everything is now replaced by modern technology. But we should not forget that, because we have been brought up in that. We should cherish that, and we should pass on to the next generation. We should tell them about our great history and our greater Sanskriti, our greater culture, and our architectural marvel that our country is famous for. In fact, I would say that it has not reached that much of audience as it should have. The architectural marvel, I am sure, because I found so many papers on Pallava architecture, on Chola architecture, Hoysala, like there are so many Chalukyas are there, And even, I just mentioned about the Varaha temples. In Nati Shastra, we have the Varaha Mudra. And even in our day-to-day Vyavahara, we say, Padinayaram Katti Varaham. Why do we say Katti Varaham? The origin is in Vijayanagara Empire, kings like Vijayanagara and Venkatapati. They have introduced that coin with the mudra of Varaha. So that was the coin. And subsequently, for all the coins, we started calling Varaha Mudra. And that's why even today, knowingly or unknowingly, we say Padinayaram Katti Varaham. So even there, we want to study the Varaha concept in different aspects, in mudra or in architecture or in a coin, then there's a lot of scope. And just Varaha is one instance. There are so many others. Trivikrama Avatar, if you take, so many temples are there. So many architectural marvels are there. Therefore, I am sure that this 2-day conference, very beautifully organized by Dr. Balasubramaniam Vasudevan and Dr. Kameshwari. In fact, earlier I used to refer to them as KVB, the Ratna Trayam, because immediately KVB means Karur Vaishya Bank, we say. But here it is Kameshwari, Vasudeva and Balasubramaniam. They are continuing the great legacy of Dr. Raghavan, of Dr. Janaki, and I am sure that the Kuppuswami Sastri Research Institute will go ahead with greater achievements and success. And I thank them very much for giving me this opportunity, and I thank you all for a patient listening. Thank you very much.